Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Ryan, and welcome to Speak Up. A big thank you to all of you for joining us today. In this episode, we're talking about a topic that affects so many people, overthinking. You know, when your mind keeps spinning with too many thoughts and it becomes hard to make a decision or even relax. Today, we'll explain clearly what overthinking is, how it quietly takes over your mind, and why it's important to stop it early. We'll also share simple and practical steps that you can use in your daily life to manage it better.
Hi, everyone. I'm Priya, and I'm excited to walk you through today's important discussion. Overthinking doesn't just waste time. It can also cause stress, confusion, and even stop you from achieving your goals. In today's episode, we'll break it down step by step, making everything easy to understand. We'll cover why overthinking happens, what signs you need to watch for, and real actions you can take immediately. Make sure to stay with us because we'll also share some powerful techniques that can help you clear your mind and focus better.
Let's start by understanding what overthinking really is. There are two main kinds: rumination, which is when you keep going over things that already happened, and worrying, which is when you imagine all the bad things that might happen in the future. Both of these make your thoughts spin in circles, and before you know it, you're trapped in a loop of what if and should have. This loop can take over your mind and make even simple decisions feel impossible.
You can notice overthinking by spotting a few telltale signs. Maybe you find yourself doubting every choice, even small ones like what to eat or what to wear. Or you replay conversations again and again in your head, thinking you should have said something different. Sometimes the fear of making a mistake stops you from doing anything at all. If you recognize these patterns, you know overthinking is at work.
There's actually a scientific reason this happens. When you overthink, a part of your brain called the default mode network, or DMN, gets too active. That part normally handles thoughts about yourself and your life, but when it's overactive, it keeps you stuck on the same worries and regrets. It's like your brain builds a stronger path for those looping thoughts, so it becomes easier to overthink the next time.
Here's a quick mind test you can try right now. Ask yourself these yes or no questions. Do I replay past events more than 3 times a day? Am I stuck imagining what-if scenarios? Do these thoughts stop me from taking action? If you answer yes to 2 or more, you're probably overthinking. Just knowing this can be the first step toward breaking the cycle.
Now that we've understood what overthinking is and how it kind of sneaks into our mind, let's go a little deeper. Let's figure out exactly when and why we start overthinking in the first place. Most of the time, it's not random. There are certain emotional triggers behind it, like fear of being judged, fear of failing, feeling guilty about something, or even old memories that hurt. These feelings quietly push us into thinking too much, even when we don't notice it happening.
Yeah, and it's not just emotions, it's also the situation you're in. Big decisions like choosing a career, relationships, or money stuff, those are obvious triggers. But honestly, even small things like shopping or making weekend plans can set off overthinking if you're in that mindset. Sometimes we want to be so perfect with every little choice that even picking a simple thing feels stressful. It's crazy how our mind treats small choices like big life decisions sometimes.
Another thing we don't realize is how our schedule affects our mind. Like, if your day is packed with one thing after another, you don't even get time to breathe, right? Your brain gets overloaded, and that's when overthinking kicks in. But here's the funny part. If you have nothing to do, just sitting around, your brain can also go wild, creating fake problems just to stay busy. So both a crazy busy day and a boring empty day can make overthinking worse.
Exactly. That's why it helps to actually track it for a few days. Super simple. Just take a small notebook or open a note in your phone. Every time you notice your mind running like crazy, write down a few things. What time it is, where you are, what you were doing, and what thought got stuck in your head. You don't need to write a full story, just quick points. It'll help you catch your patterns way faster than just guessing.
And after 3 days, you'll start seeing the patterns clearly. You might notice like, hey, I always start overthinking when I'm alone in the evening. Or, it happens every time I scroll through Instagram. Those repeating situations are your personal overthinking hotspots. And once you know exactly where you usually fall into the trap, you can actually do something about it instead of feeling stuck.
Right. It's like drawing your own personal map of overthinking. Once you know your emotional triggers, your situation triggers, and when your schedule messes with your mind, you'll have a clear picture. And trust me, just having that clarity makes a huge difference. You're not fighting some invisible enemy anymore. You know exactly what you're dealing with. And that's a big first step to stop it.
All right, so now that you've got a personal map of your overthinking hotspots, let's talk about what you can actually do in the moment. One of the fastest tricks is something called the thought capturing method. It's super simple. Whenever a crazy thought pops up, don't ignore it and don't judge it. Just grab a pen or open your phone and write it down exactly how it comes. No fixing, no filtering. Then ask yourself, is this 100% true? And can I really know this for sure? Half the time, just asking those two questions makes you realize your brain is making stuff way bigger than it really is.
Exactly. And once you've captured the thought, the next step is reality checking it. Like literally ask yourself, what's the real evidence that supports this worry? And then, what's the evidence that fights against it? It's like being a detective about your own thoughts. Most worries fall apart when you put them under the spotlight like this. And then you can ask yourself, what's a more balanced way to look at this? Instead of letting the extreme worst-case scenario run wild.
Another trick is learning how to reframe catastrophic thinking. You know how your brain loves to scream stuff like, I'll fail and everything will be ruined. Instead of just believing that, you flip it. You tell yourself something more real like, even if I fail, I'll learn and adjust. You're not lying to yourself. You're just giving your brain a more useful way to think about the problem. It takes away that heavy, hopeless feeling and gives you back a little bit of control.
And one thing that really helps is making a few quick mental auto-replies for the thoughts you always get stuck on. Like, if you always worry, what if people judge me? Your auto-reply could be, their opinion doesn't control my life. You make 2 or 3 of these replies for your biggest worries and just keep them ready in your mind. So the next time that thought shows up, you don't panic. You already have an answer waiting.
The key is, you have to actually practice using these auto-replies when you're in the middle of overthinking, not just when you're feeling calm. It's just like learning anything new. At first it feels weird and maybe a little forced, but the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. And eventually your brain starts switching gears on its own instead of getting stuck in that old panic loop.
And honestly, it doesn't take months or years to feel a difference. If you really practice daily, even for just a few minutes a day, you can start noticing changes pretty quickly. You'll catch your brain trying to spiral, and you'll be like, wait, I know what's happening here. And that moment, that awareness, that's where real control starts. You're not your thoughts. You're the one steering the wheel now.
All right, so once you've got your thought-catching tools ready, the next big move is learning to catch yourself even earlier, before overthinking grows into something heavy. And for that, mindfulness is seriously powerful. It's basically building what people call the observer mindset. Instead of getting trapped in your thoughts, you step back and just notice them. Like when a worry pops up, you don't fight it, you just go, oh, there's a worry. Interesting. No drama, no judgment. It sounds simple, but this tiny shift changes everything because you stop letting the thought drag you down immediately.
Yeah, and you don't have to sit for an hour and meditate like a monk to do this. There are some super quick mindfulness techniques you can use right when overthinking starts. One of the best ones is just taking 5 deep belly breaths, like really slow, deep breaths where your stomach rises. It physically calms your brain down. Another great one is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. You look around and name 5 things you see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. It sounds basic, but it snaps your brain out of its spiral fast because it forces your mind to come back to the present.
And if you've got a few minutes, micro-meditations are a total game changer. We're talking just 3 minutes. You can find a quick focus on your breath guided audio. There are tons of free ones online. Just close your eyes, follow your breath, and let the thoughts pass by without chasing them. It's not about clearing your mind 100%. It's just about noticing when your mind runs off and gently bringing it back. Doing this before bed or right before starting work can seriously lower the chance of falling into overthinking mode later in the day.
Exactly. And mindfulness isn't just something you do sitting quietly. You can use it in real life too. Like if you're standing in a long line at the grocery store or stuck in traffic, instead of letting your mind spin into stress mode, you just take a few deep breaths and notice what's happening around you. Notice the colors, sounds, people's faces. Just observe without judging. These little real-world mindfulness moments stack up and make your brain way better at staying calm overall.
And the best part? The more you practice catching yourself early, the easier it gets. At first, maybe you notice yourself halfway through an overthinking storm, but after a while, you'll start catching it earlier, maybe when the first anxious thought pops up. And that's powerful, because the earlier you catch it, the smaller it stays. You don't let it snowball into a full-blown mental storm.
Yeah, it's like building a new reflex. Instead of automatically getting pulled into hours of worrying, your new automatic move becomes pausing, breathing, and observing. And trust me, the peace that comes from this is next level. It's like giving yourself a mental reset button anytime you need it.
All right, now let's talk about one of my favorite techniques to actually contain overthinking instead of letting it take over your whole day. It's called the worry window strategy. It sounds a little funny at first. You literally set aside 10 minutes every evening just to worry on purpose. You grab a notebook, write down every fear, every what-if that's bugging you, and set a timer. When the 10 minutes are up, you stop, close the notebook, and move on. It trains your brain to understand, hey, worrying has a time and place, not all day, every day. It's such a smart way to tell your mind you're in charge, not your anxiety.
Exactly. And what's cool is once your brain knows it has a specific time to let out all the worries, it doesn't keep throwing them at you randomly all day. It's like the brain chills out a little, knowing it'll get its turn. And the best part? Most people find that after writing for 5 minutes, they actually run out of things to worry about. It's crazy how powerful this small habit can be. Plus, seeing your worries written down helps you realize how often they're repetitive, or not even that serious once they're out of your head.
And to make this even stronger, you can combine it with simple time blocking throughout your day. Basically, you create small blocks of time where you focus on one thing only, like a morning focus block for learning or work, an afternoon block for tasks, an evening block where you allow the worry window, and then a night block for pure relaxation. No thinking about tomorrow's problems. It sounds organized, but it actually makes life feel lighter because you know, right now, I'm supposed to be here doing this, instead of letting your mind jump around like crazy.
Yeah, and time blocking doesn't have to be strict or complicated. You're just giving your day a little bit of shape so your brain doesn't have to stay in survival mode all the time. You wake up knowing, okay, I'll focus for a bit this morning, deal with tasks after lunch, dump my worries in the evening, and chill out before sleep. It feels so much more doable than trying to be switched on 24/7. And when your brain has a plan, it relaxes. And relaxed brains don't overthink nearly as much.
Honestly, it's like you're building a safe container for your thoughts instead of letting them spill everywhere. At first, you might forget your worry window or skip a block, and that's totally fine. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. Over time, your mind starts trusting you more. It learns, okay, if something's bothering me, it'll get handled. Later. Not now. And that's a huge mental freedom most people don't even realize they can have.
And just imagine how much mental energy you'll save when your brain isn't constantly stuck in a loop. You'll be sharper at work, more present with family, and way calmer overall. It's such a simple shift, giving your thoughts a schedule, but it opens up so much peace and space inside your mind.
Now that we've talked about controlling when and where you worry, let's jump into another big issue: analysis paralysis. You know, that feeling when you overthink so much that you can't even start? To beat it, you need something called micro-action planning. Sounds fancy, but it's super simple. Instead of saying, I need to plan my whole career, just shrink it down. Ask yourself, what are 3 industries I'm curious about today? That's it, just 3. It's all about making the task so small that your brain doesn't get scared and freeze.
Exactly, because when the task feels too big, your brain says, nope, too much, not today. But when you break it down into little pieces, it feels way more possible. And here's another trick: the rule of three. Never allow yourself to juggle more than three options at a time. So if you're stuck picking between 5 career paths or 10 business ideas, stop. Narrow it down to just 3. It forces you to choose faster, and it keeps you from drowning in endless overthinking. It's a small mental rule that can seriously change the way you make decisions.
Yeah, and here's the golden move: the first best action rule. Whenever you feel stuck, just take any small action forward, even if it's not perfect. Like if you're job hunting and you start overthinking which company is best or how to write the perfect email, just send one email today. Not perfect, not fancy, just done. Because action kills fear way faster than thinking ever can. Even a tiny step forward will make your mind feel lighter and more in control.
That's so true. And to make it even stronger, you can start keeping a simple micro-win journal. At the end of every day, just write down one small thing you did, even though you were overthinking, like sent an email or made a decision. It sounds small, but when you look back after a week or a month, you'll see how many little wins you collected. And all those tiny actions build into massive momentum without even realizing it.
And the coolest part is, the more you celebrate these small moves, the more your brain wants to take action next time. It's like teaching yourself, hey, doing something, anything, feels good. And that feeling slowly replaces the fear of messing up or not being perfect. Action becomes the new habit instead of worry being the habit. And that's a game changer.
Exactly. Overthinking loses its power when you make action your default setting, even if it's messy or tiny. It's not about being perfect. It's about not getting stuck anymore. And trust me, the more you practice micro action steps, the easier and faster decisions become. You don't waste energy fighting your own thoughts, you just move. And that feels amazing.
All right, now let's move into something a lot of people don't even realize: how physical movement can actually reset your brain and stop overthinking. When you're stuck in your head, one of the fastest ways out is to move your body. And it doesn't need to be a full gym session. Even just doing 20 push-ups, 20 jumping jacks, and 20 squats can change your state in under 2 minutes. It sounds too easy, but movement sends fresh energy to your brain and cuts those endless thinking loops.
Exactly. And if you're not into quick workouts, that's okay too. Just taking a short walk can work wonders. You can even have your phone with you and do a walk and talk. Either call someone or just talk out loud to yourself. It clears your mind faster than sitting still and battling your thoughts. Movement breaks that heavy mental energy. So even a solo reflection walk after lunch or in the evening can make a huge difference in how stuck you feel.
And it's not just about movement. Relaxation matters too. A super simple trick is the tense and release technique. You pick one body part, like your shoulders or fists, squeeze them tight for a few seconds, and then completely relax. Do it slowly through different parts of your body. It sounds small, but it teaches your brain to actually feel the difference between tension and calm. And when you do it regularly, it helps you spot when your body is getting stressed before your mind starts spinning with overthinking.
Yeah, and there's this beautiful little trick called visualization. Just imagine your thoughts as leaves floating down a river. Every time a worry pops up, you mentally place it on a leaf and watch it float away. No fighting, no clinging. You're not trying to stop thinking, you're just letting it pass. It's super calming, especially if you feel stuck at night or during work. It gives your brain permission to stop gripping onto every thought like it's life or death.
And to make this even more practical, you can set a small alarm every 2 hours during the day. When it rings, just do a 2-minute body stretch or a few deep breaths. That tiny break can completely reset your brain and break the rumination cycle before it gets heavy. It's all about catching the overthinking early before it grows into a giant monster in your head.
Exactly. The goal isn't to fix yourself, it's just to reset your brain and body gently throughout the day. Movement and relaxation are like giving your mind a fresh start button. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You'll notice your mind staying lighter, your decisions getting quicker, and your overthinking losing its grip without even trying too hard.
Finally, let's talk about setting up a support system and how to build mental strength every day. One of the most powerful tools to fight overthinking is having an accountability partner. Pair up with a friend or even join an online group like Overthinkers Anonymous. Each week, check in with each other. You can ask, what was your biggest worry this week? How did you take action despite it? Having someone else to talk to about your overthinking helps you feel less alone and keeps you grounded.
Exactly. You don't have to carry this alone. A support system is vital because it gives you perspective. When you feel like you're stuck in your head, just talking it out with someone can help you see things clearly. And don't forget journaling. You can start by asking yourself a couple of simple questions. What did I overthink today? And did I take any action despite my fear today? Journaling helps you track your progress, and it's a great way to catch patterns early before they spiral out of control.
Absolutely. And here's a little reward system that works wonders. Instead of waiting for perfection, reward yourself for taking action, even if it's small. Maybe you sent that email you were avoiding, or maybe you took a walk to clear your mind. Celebrate those small wins. It reinforces the habit of moving forward, and over time, it starts to feel natural. You don't have to be perfect, just consistent.
And building mental strength is a daily process. Start each morning by listing 3 things you're grateful for. It's a simple way to focus on positive things right away. Then, in the middle of the day, take 3 deep breaths, just to reset. At night, make it a habit to write one small action you took despite your overthinking, even if it's something tiny, like deciding on what to have for dinner without second-guessing. These little routines add up over time.
That's right. The goal isn't to stop overthinking altogether, but to build mental resilience so you can break free from it faster. With a support system, a journaling habit, and daily mental strength practices, overthinking loses its power. And remember, it's not about being perfect or having zero worries. It's about taking action despite the fears every single day.
Exactly. And with consistency, overthinking becomes just a small part of your life, not the whole story. So, take action, build your strength, and enjoy the freedom that comes with it. That wraps up this episode of the podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, overthinking doesn't have to control your life. Keep moving forward, one small step at a time.